My name is Nassime Saabs.
Bill Hader, who's this comedian that you've seen a million times, he was on The Late Show?
David Letterman.
David Letterman. Mm-hmm. So they've taken this, and he's just telling this story of meeting Tom Cruise and talking to Tom Cruise, and then Seth Rogen. And what's wild about this is if you watch it and no one has told you this is a deep fake, you may not notice. It's so subtle. But he's talking about Tom Cruise, and all of a sudden, he just kind of transforms into Tom Cruise. And he's like, yeah, yeah. And his face looks like Tom Cruise. But it's so subtle, the manipulation of the video.
You might even think he's just doing that.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of like Jim Carrey looks like the characters he does.
Right. He just has this rubber face that just makes him look like these guys. It's so subtle. Now, we're going to play the audio here, and if you happen to be watching The Blaze, you'll see it. Here's Bill Hader on Letterman. So.
You know, it seemed like every movie I saw in the last several months, you were in it, and good for you. That's just great.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
And I was wondering about the Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder.
Where Tom Cruise. You're working with Tom Cruise. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. Like we got to dance together. That was amazing. We had like, when you do a movie, you do table reads, where like all the actors get together.
At the beginning of the
production. Beginning, before anything, you get together and you read through the script. And so it's like, all these heavyweights, like, Ben Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., everybody. And then at the end is like me, like, like, hey, just happy to be here, guys. And some other supporting guys. And then Tom Cruise walks in.
Oh my God.
And even those guys are like, whoa, and he's super stoked to be there, just like, yeah, oh, boom. He's like, wow. He's just immediately excited when he walks into a room. And so he comes over and he sits next to me, and I think he had been briefed on some of the supporting guys, but he was like trying to place me, So he sat down next to me, and he's like, I love your work. And I went, oh, thanks. I love your work too, Tom Cruise. Thanks. And I go, yeah, I'm friends with Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen, and they went to your house. He went, yes. They did come to my house. And I said, Seth Rogen was like, it was amazing. He has like a bike track in his backyard. It's phenomenal. And I did a Seth Rogen impression, and it was like I did a magic trick. Tom Cruise was like, yeah.
So now here's why this is so important. Here's why you need to see this. Because like Stu said, you can't tell where it begins and where it ends.
Yeah, and kind of on your point, I mean, the teeth do change, but they change when his mouth is closed.
Yes.
So you never actually see the change happen.
Yes.
The rest of it is happening in front of your eyes, and I still can't see when it happens.
No, you can't.
It's just all of a sudden I'm looking at Tom Cruise or Seth Rogen. I mean, Bill Hader looks nothing like Seth Rogen, and yet still it somehow happens, and it looks natural. Mm-hmm. And so can you imagine someone, a political figure, being, manipulated to say something that they didn't say or do something that they didn't do? It would be so incredibly easy.
Look, do you remember when I met with President Bush in the Oval, and I said to him, why aren't you saying these things? Remember? Mm-hmm. Why? Because he was a different person. He was like, and shoes.
When he was speaking publicly.
And you're like, right, what are you talking about, man? Talking to him one-on-one, super crystal clear, very articulate, no, no calculation. And that was the understanding that I got from him. He's calculating because what he said was, when you're the president of the United States, every word, every shift of your eyes is analyzed. Okay? Now think of that. Every shift of your eyes is analyzed by who? The rest of the world. Imagine manipulating video so carefully and so subtly over time that nobody really notices it except for those who are really looking for tips on what is the president really saying.
They did come to my house, and I said, Seth Rogen was like, you know, it was amazing. He has like a bike track in his backyard. It's phenomenal. And I go, yeah, you know, I'm friends with Judd Apatow and Seth Rogen, and they went to your house. He went, yes. They did come to my house, and I said, Seth Rogen was like, you know, it was amazing. He has like a bike track in his backyard. It's phenomenal. and I did a Seth Rogen impression, and it was like I did a magic trick. Tom Cruise was like, yeah. Wow. And he points to me. And he pointed at me and he goes, you do impressions and you're on Saturday Night Live. And I went, hey. It was like he won a game show. He was like, yeah, Tom.
That kind of enthusiasm from that kind of a star, obviously a little intimidating, a little overwhelming.
It is a little overwhelming. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
You were able to work out and everything was fine?
Yeah, everything was great.
And when it was over, it was all good?
Yeah, it was great. At the premiere, he came up to me and he goes, can you believe we were in that movie? And I was like, I can't believe you were in that movie. I was like, you're Tom Cruise.